My name is Commissioner Frank Avila, and I'm the Commissioner at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And today the name of our show is Water Environment Education for Kids. And I have as my guest Gregory Cargill. He's a retired engineer from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And how long have you worked for the Water Reclamation District, Greg?
I worked for them for 30 years exactly.
30 years. He's an expert. He should be an expert, Greg. And right now he's working as a project engineer for Clark Dietz, and he's co-chair of WEF Teach. And WEF stands for Water Environment Federation. And they're going to have a conference here in October at McCormick Place. And they're going to bring in, about 100 teachers, science teachers. And they're going to teach them all about WEF, about the water environment. And I'm glad you're on our show, Greg.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And, you know, Greg, what does WEF teach?
WEF Teach, and this will be the 14th annual seminar. It's a one-day seminar as part of the national conference where we bring in 100 science teachers to McCormick Place, and we show them all the latest and greatest when it comes to environmental education.
You know, the WEF conference, Water Environment Federation Conference, Water Conference, is the largest in the world. You're going to have experts from throughout the whole world coming and learning all about the newest things in how to save the planet in regards to water environment. And we're going to have a large exhibit hall, the largest in the world, showing all the latest equipment. We're going to have seminars on all the new research that's being done to protect the planet, to treat wastewater. And it's going to be right here in our own backyard. And as Greg mentioned, WEF Teach. We're going to teach the teachers here in the Chicagoland area, and we want the science teachers to come and participate with us to learn how to teach about water environment. Right, Greg?
That is correct. We have actually subdivided WEF Teach into a seminar for middle school teachers, science teachers, and high school science teachers.
High school science teachers, and the total that's going to come is 100.
That is correct.
Now, you're also going to pay, aren't you, the school district for the substitute teachers to replace these teachers that's going to come to WEF Teach?
That is correct. We hope that financially that we can support the entire seminar through donations and sponsorships.
And that's for one day?
That is correct. It will be Monday, October 20th.
October the 20th.
2008.
2008. So any science teachers out there that want to come and learn about the newest projects or research or equipment or teaching techniques, we love to have you. And so who is the target audience for the seminars? Or did we mention that already?
Well, we did, but once again, we've actually split it down the middle. Half will be middle school science teachers, and the other half will be high school science teachers.
And what will be the main topic of presentation?
Well, we have two breakout sessions from a technical point of view. And the first one is called Sewer Science.
Sewer Science.
And it's an award-winning program that was developed in California that we've been using the last 5 years at WEF Teach. And it's a hands-on laboratory model of what happens in the wastewater treatment cycle.
Oh, you mean you have the whole model out there with how the, you know, what Greg is saying, that when you, as a person, get up in the morning and you have your breakfast and you'll drink your water or your orange juice. Sometime during the day you're going to poop. You're going to hit that washroom, you're going to poop, you're going to flush that toilet. It's going to come down through your pipes into your home, out the lateral line into the local sewers. From the local sewers it's going to go to the interceptor sewers. And then from there it's going to go into a sewer treatment plant to treat your poop. And they're going to have a model sewer treatment plant going through the various steps of how it's being treated. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's excellent.
Well, thank you.
That's excellent.
In addition, we have a very unique element of sewer science, the module.
Yeah.
The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago.
Which you are retired from.
Yes.
Yeah.
They will participate in WEF Teach, and equally important, they will take ownership of the sewer science modules and be able to use them post-conference.
Oh, post-conference?
Right, and take it into schools in Cook County.
Oh, that's excellent. So, will they own it then?
Yes, they will.
And that's excellent that they'll take it in. And how large is it?
Well, it would fit on, let's go back to your chemistry labs. They would fit on 2 to 3 of those large chemistry lab tables.
Oh, going through the various processes.
Right. You would actually, they're made out of plexiglass, and they're transported in a pickup truck.
Oh.
But they are portable, and following WEF Teach, occasionally they can be brought into schools and set up and demonstrated, especially for schools that did not get the opportunity at WEF Teach.
And that's throughout all of Cook County?
That is correct.
All of Cook County. I think this is an excellent way to teach our kids about the water environment.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, excellent.
And then we have a second breakout session. It's called the 10-day Water Environment Curriculum.
10 days?
And it's patterned after the water cycle. And there are 9 classroom days, and day 10 obviously would be a tour of either the wastewater treatment plant in your town or the water filtration drinking water plant in your town.
Okay, now the 10 days. Let's get back to the 10 days. They don't spend 10 days at the conference. It's a curriculum that in that one day they're going to go over the 10-day curriculum.
That is correct.
Just a summary of it. And these teachers could bring it back to their school and use that book you're going to give them to teach over a period of time.
That is correct.
Covering part of it in one school year, because that's an awful lot to cover.
Yes, it is. And one of the axioms that we use is teach the teachers.
Teach the teachers.
Volunteers from the Water Environment Federation and the local Illinois Water Environment Association would volunteer to teach science teachers at a seminar on how to use the 10-day water environment curriculum.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be willing to go out there and help be an instructor or even help going to the high school to teach the students out there.
And the uniqueness of the 10-day water environment curriculum is we, as volunteers in Illinois, we actually wrote this about 15 years ago, and we've enhanced it and made it better over the years. And occasionally we volunteer not only to go into the classroom as water quality professionals, but we obviously facilitate making these tours available as a field trip for the science students.
And you know, at the district we have 7 sewer treatment plants. And presently, right now, in 2008, we're upgrading 3 of the largest wastewater plants in North America. That's the Northside plant, the Calumet plant, and the Stickney plant. And one of the 3 is the largest in the world. You know, we're living in God's country here in Cook County. This is God's country. Now, Greg, how can I get my local science teacher or any science teacher in Cook County to attend?
There's several ways. We could go to the Illinois Water Environment Association website, which is IWEA site.
IWEA, Illinois Water Environment Federation Association.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Or we could contact through the Metropolitan Water Reclamation Districts.
Okay.
Or just information that we are presenting here on this particular show.
Or contact me, my website, and I'll get your names to Greg, and so we could have our science teachers participate. Because, you know, who's going to save the planet in the water environment? The kids are going to save the planet, and we have to educate our kids to save the planet and save us. Because as an adult, a lot of us did not do a good job saving the planet, so we're going to have to educate the kids to save the planet. Now, what are the costs?
Well, the actual costs, and we just do this to make sure everybody is committed, It's a total cost to the individual science teachers of $10 for the entire seminar.
Oh, that's excellent. $10. I tell you, to get $1 million education for $10, this is great here in the Chicagoland area.
We believe that their take-home, the curriculum and the programs that we physically pass out to them, including sewer science and 10 days, we believe it has a value of well over $1,200. And we give this package
for $10.
For $10.
And for $10, you're not going to pick them up for $10, but they're going to come. And what does this include?
Well, it includes, and right now we're working on parking at the McCormick Place.
Which is about $20, right? $20
right.
at McCormick Place.
But we'll have a continental breakfast, and then we'll have registration, and then they will, during the morning and the afternoon, they will go through these breakout sessions, sewer science and 10-day, and then there is a very formal, a very excellent lunch and a speaker, a national environmental speaker.
Do you have the name of the speaker now? Or
no, we don't have that yet.
Okay. But yeah, you're gonna. Yeah. I have attended WEFTeC, and I'll tell you, these are the top scientists, engineers, presenters that are coming here to the Chicagoland area, and it's all about water, environment, and how to save the planet. And excellent for our science teachers.
And the final component for the science teachers, in smaller groups, we give them a guided tour of the exhibit hall.
Okay.
So they can see basically how the profession is run, whether it's science or engineering or biology or any water quality related field. They'll see the latest products, and they'll just see the size of the conference.
Well, you know, science teachers, when I go to the WEFTeC, I need about 2 weeks just to go through the whole exhibit. It's so large. I mean, it's the largest in the world.
Yes, it is. It's around 275,000 square feet of exhibit hall.
And you know, as you mentioned, and that's what a science teacher is going to learn. $10, the whole day, 1 day, 10-day curriculum course. And please call, because we want our science teachers to learn what we're going to have at WEF Teach, so they could go back into the school to teach our kids. Now we're going to show a film on the water cycle, and the water cycle is so important for the survival of our planet. You know, the water, and so Sherry, would you please show it, the water cycle, and any time, Sherry.
It's the source and substance of life. All of us who inhabit the water planet depend on an uninterrupted supply of clean, safe water for drinking, for cooking, for bathing and recreation, for industry and agriculture, for power and transportation. Yet water is a limited resource. It must be used over and over again. That's why it's important that we restore the water we use to a clean state before we return it back to the environment. Nature has always understood this requirement, and rivers, lakes, and streams have a built-in restoration process. In a river, pollutants are diluted and carried away from their source by the flow of water. Some of the pollutants are heavy and settle to the bottom. Others remain suspended in the water and become food for microscopic bacteria. Supported by oxygen in the water, the bacteria consume more and more organic material until they become heavy. Then, they too settle to the bottom, where they ultimately degrade. The clean water flows on to be used again by society, or to evaporate to the atmosphere, where it will recondense and return to the earth as rain. This is nature's way of controlling water pollution.
Imagine a single drop of water, billions and billions of years ago. Imagine that drop of water heated by the sun, evaporating into the atmosphere, forming a cloud, and falling to earth again as rain. Now imagine that cycle being repeated over and over from the beginning of our Earth right up to today. Amazing, isn't it? That single drop of water is still around today. It may be generating power for your city or irrigating a farm. You may even be swimming in it or drinking it. The same 4 billion-year-old water, recycled again and again and again. In other words, the water we have now is all we've ever had and all we ever will have. Our water supply can be found everywhere, in the ground, the atmosphere, even in our bodies. But you're probably most familiar.
Greg, why is the water cycle so important?
I believe that there are several reasons, but the most important is the fact of the interdependence between clean water, drinking water, and good wastewater treatment. If any of those individual elements were not in balance, eventually we could degrade our water supply. And as you very well know, the good drinking water is the #1 public health item for our citizens. But we're all on this team together to maintain that good potable drinking water supply. And that's why wastewater treatment is so important.
Yeah, you know, we're living in God's country up here in the Midwest, in the Chicagoland area, because, you know, of all the surface water in the world, 1% is fresh water. And here in the Great Lakes, 18% of that 1% is right here in the Great Lakes. And 90% of the fresh water in the United States is right here in the Great Lakes. So this is God's country. You know, they say that a person could live without food for about 30 days, but without water, we could live only 3 days without water, because, you know, our body is 2/3 water. An elephant is 2/3 water. A chicken is 2/3 water. You know, water is very precious, and that's why we have to make sure we have this water for another 2,000, 3,000 years, because as the movie we just saw, that the water that we're drinking now is the same water that they were drinking 2,000 years ago. Because it's why? Because it's that water cycle. It's that same water that when the sun comes out, the energy gets hot, the water evaporates, it goes up in the air, condenses, it comes back down, and it starts all over again. That's that's our water cycle. And this is what the science teachers are going to learn, right? Is that in the day one?
Yes, it is. In the 10-day water environment curriculum, we specifically look at 9 different days, including drinking water, groundwater, surface water, in order to show how they're all interconnected.
Yes.
Because it's the big picture of the water cycle itself that's really most important.
Yes. You know, what are the past and current challenge in maintaining the water cycle?
Well, you gave me a tremendous lead-in before. In the United States, we have the best of all worlds because we have drinking water treatment and wastewater treatment pretty much under control right now, according to the regulations.
Yes.
And yet, some of the current challenges involve stormwater and stormwater control. We may be headed to a system where we may have to actually treat stormwater.
Well, that's true. You know, the thinking, you know, we had combined sewers, and where all the stormwater and sanitary went into the same system. And the thinking then was said, well, let's separate it, and let's only treat the sanitary, and we don't need to treat the stormwater. But now we're finding out maybe that stormwater is not clean enough to discharge into our streams. Maybe the pollutant that comes off that comes into that stormwater has to be treated also.
Yes, that is correct. And there's a couple examples here in the Chicagoland area. One of them are the SEPA stations, where we're actually pulling the river water or the canal water up and treating it by injecting oxygen into it, because in the future, the general water quality in that body of water may not be good enough. But MWRD GC has already found a way to treat part of it by using the SEPA station.
Yeah, by the SEPA station is that they'll pump it up from the channel, they'll pump it up into a lagoon, and then they'll drop it into steps. And when the water is dropping, it creates what?
Reaeration.
Reaeration, the oxygen. You know, it's just like exercising that water.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you probably run every morning 15 miles, huh, Greg, to build up your oxygen in your body, right?
Well, 1.5.
20 miles,
yeah.
1.5. Well, this is what the water is doing in that SEPA station, because in the water, and this is what the teachers are going to learn, that we need dissolved oxygen, and I'll bet you that's part of the program.
Yes,
right?
it is. There's actually one day of the 10-day specifically dedicated to dissolved oxygen, not only its importance, but different ways of efficiently transferring oxygen into water.
Into water, and the reason, you know, as a human being, we need air to breathe, oxygen to breathe. Well, you know, under the water, you got aquatic life, and the aquatic life, fish, plants. If you have too much algae under that water, it takes away that dissolved oxygen, and you have a dead zone. Your aquatic life can't live, and that's the purpose of the SEPA station, exercising water, creating that dissolved oxygen, and when it hits that water dissolve oxygen there. And so that's what all the science teachers are starting to learn on that water cycle there. And I think I have to take the course again too. Maybe I'll pay my $10 and take the course. It sounds like an excellent course. Now, what are the future challenge in maintaining the water cycle?
Well, one of them, and we spoke to it briefly, is stormwater, is that it is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And then as science becomes better, we can now measure into parts per billion for certain contaminants, maybe even parts per trillion.
Yes.
So the latest thing is total daily maximum loads that are scientifically proven, which a stream could handle. Loads above that have to be somehow rerouted, because TMDLs is the latest regulatory report card.
And when you mention total maximum load, you're talking about pollutants that are coming into the streams.
That is correct.
And that's what they're going to have in that 10-day curriculum that you have at the WEF Teach.
And the other thing that's really important is one of the approaches is called watershed management.
Watershed management, yeah.
A particular wastewater plant might be doing a great job, whereas a neighboring plant may need a little help.
Yes.
And we look at the watershed and the water quality coming out of that watershed as the absolute most important thing. The two wastewater plants may have to trade some of their expertise. One might be better at removing organic material. Another one might be better at removing ammonia, nitrogen. So trading is one of the big issues that we're looking at.
Sure, and you know, as Greg mentioned, removing ammonium, removing phosphorus, and he mentioned we have just, we're completing our new research building at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. We just bought high-level equipment to detect at a lower level the pollutants that are coming into our streams, because before we didn't have that type of equipment. And there's a whole new research out there now. They got different names, microconstituents, compound of emerging concern, whichever you want to use. And so this is all that is being researched at the district right now, and that's what our teachers are not in that depth, but they're going to learn enough to teach our kids to be made aware. And one thing good is that when they come in and to WEF Teach and learn all about this there, and the teachers go back to school and teach the kids, then the kids will go back and teach the parents.
That is correct.
And I think that's the goal. What are the problems with water quality and potable water in other countries?
They just have not had the opportunity and the money to implement this system, this new research, the better treatment techniques. And so they just are lagging behind the United States.
And that's why I said we're up here in the Midwest, we're living in God's country. I mean, we should get up every morning and thank the good Lord that we have the Great Lakes right here, Lake Michigan, and we have an excellent wastewater plant to treat our poop there, and because we're dealing in health. I mean, I'm a civil engineer, you're a civil engineer, but actually we're health engineers also, because we're providing, protecting our water supply, which is Lake Michigan, and we're protecting our water environment here in Cook County. And this is excellent. Could these problems ever exist? You're talking about the other countries where they don't have wastewater plants or water filtration plants where they have drinking water. Could this ever be here in the United States? Could we ever come to this condition here in the United States?
As we sit here, it almost is unthinkable, but yet I go back to 1971. The Clean Water Act was passed by the United States and EPA, and it provided a mechanism and a funding where we were able to build new wastewater treatment plants. I believe in the near future that we're going to have to do something relative to a system, an infrastructure that is now basically 40 years old, in order to keep those collection systems and those wastewater treatment plants up to the highest level.
That's why presently at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, we have a program where we're going to upgrade 3 of our largest wastewater plants at a cost of about $2.3 billion. We're going to add maybe another $1 billion to add nutrient removal. And we're going to have to do that, and without any federal funding. And who's going to pay for it? The tax people here in Cook County. And my next question leads into my next question. Why are water quality related projects not the highest priority in the United States?
In my opinion, it's because the citizens in our great county and our great city do not understand what you said earlier. This is about public health. They cannot believe that we would ever lose that, but it's something that we need to hold on to very dearly and, pay the cost of these upgrades and these plant expansions and basically protecting public health as it relates to water.
And this is why I see that we should set up in Washington with the federal government a trust fund, a water trust fund, that we should not put the burden on the taxpayer of Cook County, but maybe we need federal dollars coming in to help. And not only us in Cook County, throughout the United States, every wastewater plant agency throughout the United States needs this water trust fund, where just like the highway trust fund or the federal highway trust fund.